Welcome to the AI Executive Brief. I'm Stephen Forte. On Monday, OpenAI published a 13-page document explaining how governments should protect people from the economic disruption caused by companies like OpenAI. It is, if you read it with any care at all, a pre-apology written in advance for harms not yet fully delivered, published so the record will show they said something. Today, we are going to read it that way. By the end of this episode, you will know exactly what they are apologizing for, why they chose the single worst day in recent memory to publish it, and what the whole exercise reveals that its authors probably did not intend. This is not a story about AI policy. Policy is what governments write. This is a story about what happens when the most powerful company in the world realizes it is about to do something very large and decides to get ahead of it in writing. On April 7th, OpenAI released a document titled Industrial Policy for the Intelligence Age, Ideas to Keep People First. Sam Altman compared it to the New Deal in an Axios interview the same day. We will come back to that comparison because it is doing a lot of work and it deserves a closer look. The paper is built around three stated goals: share the prosperity broadly, mitigate the risks, and democratize access. 13 pages, 5 specific policy pillars. And the more carefully you read each one, the more clearly you can see what it is actually apologizing for. Let's go through them. The first proposal is a 4-day work week, no pay cut, funded by AI productivity gains. This is OpenAI's apology delivered in advance for taking 3 of your 5 working days. They are not proposing this because they believe you deserve more leisure time. They are proposing it because their models are actively coming for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And they would very much like you to feel good about that before it happens. Converting displacement into a benefit is a neat trick. Credit where it is due. The second proposal is a public wealth fund, a government vehicle that invests in AI-linked assets and distributes returns directly to citizens. This is an apology for $852 billion. OpenAI raised $122 billion in a single quarter, the largest private capital concentration around a single technology in recorded history. The Unicorn Board added $900 billion in value in 3 months. The Public Wealth Fund says the gains from AI should be broadly shared. The translation is, we are about to own a very large percentage of the future, and we would like to offer you a small participation trophy in advance. The third proposal is a robot tax, a levy on companies that choose automated labor over human labor. This is an apology for March. The Challenger report, published last week, documented 60,000 American job cuts in March, 25% of them directly tied to AI. That number tripled from February. OpenAI did not propose taxing automated labor while they were building the automation. They proposed it after the March numbers came out. The timing is at minimum instructive. The fourth proposal is worker voice, a formal mechanism for employees to flag harmful AI deployments. This is an apology for every boardroom conversation where AI was described as an operational efficiency initiative, and nobody asked the operations team. OpenAI has approximately 3,000 employees. Franklin Roosevelt's New Deal put 8 million people to work. Neither document is the other, but only one of them required an act of Congress. The fifth proposal, in this one deserves to be read twice, is a set of safety measures. Mandatory auditing, incident reporting, model containment playbooks. This is an apology for the last 2 years, because OpenAI's political operation spent that exact window fighting the policies they are now endorsing. Their PC lobbied to defeat California's AI transparency law. They campaigned against the New York AI safety bill that was just signed into law last month. The paper proposes auditing and incident reporting. OpenAI spent real money defeating the politicians who wrote those exact requirements. I do not have a one-liner for this one. It is simply true. Now, the timing, the paper dropped on April 7th. The same day, the same morning, the New Yorker published the results of a 1.5-year-long investigation raising questions about Sam Altman's trustworthiness on AI safety. A document explaining why Sam Altman's company should be trusted to help govern AI safety. Released on the day, a 1.5-year investigation into Sam Altman dropped. Nobody has confirmed this was coordinated. Nobody has denied it either. If it was accidental, it is the worst timing in corporate communications history. If it was intentional, I appreciate the confidence. I want to give the paper its due, because not all of it is theater. The portable benefits proposal, healthcare and retirement that follows workers across jobs rather than being tied to an employer, is genuinely good policy that has nothing to do with AI specifically and everything to do with how broken the American benefits system is. The auditing framework, cynical backstory aside, is worth building. And the paper's acknowledgement on page 4 in their own words that there is also a risk that the economic gains concentrate within a small number of firms like OpenAI is the most honest sentence a $852 billion company has published about itself in years. They name themselves in the document voluntarily. Give them credit for that sentence. It is a rare thing. Here is where this lands for leaders at this level. The question your board is going to ask is not what OpenAI thinks about robot taxes. It is going to be far more uncomfortable than that. The question is, if your company deployed AI over the last 18 months, and nearly every company at this level has, could you write the equivalent document, not to publish, not for PR, but to have the honest internal conversation about what you're doing, what it is doing to your workforce, and what obligations you think you carry as a result? Here is what that looks like in practice. Picture a chief operating officer at a 600-person regional insurance company. Over the last 14 months, AI tools reduced their claims processing team from 90 people to 61. Not through layoffs, through attrition, managed carefully with some redeployment, clean execution. Board is happy with the cost line, but there is no document anywhere in the company that explains how the productivity gains from that reduction will be shared with the 61 people still doing the work. No framework for what happens when the next round comes, and no answer ready for the day a journalist, a regulator, or a departing employee asks. OpenAI wrote that document about itself in public. Whatever their motives, they now have a written position. Every company deploying AI at scale is operating on an unwritten one. The question is not whether the apology is sincere. Pre-apologies rarely are. The question is whether you have written yours, even if only for the room. So today, a 13-page document read, not as policy, but as a preemptive apology for the jobs, the wealth concentration, and the worker displacement that OpenAI's own technology is already delivering. The cynicism is in the structure, not imported from the outside. The most revealing line in the entire paper is not in the proposals. It is in the closing section where OpenAI announces it is opening a Washington, D.C. office in May and offering $100,000 fellowships and $1 million in API credits to researchers who want to build on these ideas. They will fund the think tanks that define what responsible AI policy means. That is not a footnote. That is the business model of the whole document. That is the AI executive brief for Friday, April 10th. I am Stephen Forte. If this was useful, share it with someone who needs to hear it. I will be back Monday with more. Until then, stay sharp.